Preface. Communication is the key to success. Communication has helped us to establish our societies and build communities. It is the human connection which is why humans have constantly researched ways in which they can communicate with each other, not just face-to-face, but also when they are located in two different locations. Everything from birds flying from one place to another with messages to the invention of phones that facilitated long-distance calling was the result of our need to communicate with people in far locations as effectively as possible. The mobile phone technology brought in a wave of changes to how telephony was perceived. With mobile phones, it became easier for people to talk to each other even when they were in different locations, and that too without the limitations of the wired phones. While early mobile phones were very heavy, making it difficult for people to carry the phone along with them wherever they went, mobile technologies helped in introducing advancements to these portable devices, making it easier for people to carry it everywhere. Where early mobile phones could have weighed almost about 1 kilogram, mobile phones today are as light as 130 grams. Other technologies like camera, Bluetooth and app development introduced such functionalities and features to mobile phones which may not have been expected when the device was first invented. Introduction. On March 10, 1876, Alexander Graham Bell placed his first successful phone call, introducing the world to a technology that continues to evolve till this day. A little less than a decade later, mobile phones began to be researched, and on April 3, 1973, Martin Cooper, who worked for Motorola, placed the first call from a mobile phone to Dr. Joel S. Engel of Bell Labs. The two were rivals since both of them were researching mobile technologies which could be used by the public. Martin Cooper found no better way to celebrate his success than to make his first call to his rifle. The device used by Martin Cooper to place the call was referred to as handled subscriber equipment, and it weighed 1.1 kilogram. The device was 23 centimeters long, 13 centimeters deep, and 4.5 centimeters wide. The battery was as much a problem than as it is today. But the battery woes of the mobile device used by Martin Cooper were a lot worse. The equipment offered only 30 minutes of talk time, and it took almost 10 hours to charge it again. This time, mobile phone had not been commercialized and they were still limited to research labs only. It was in 1979 when Japan launched the first commercial cellular network, and it soon began to spread in the Nordic countries before mobile phones were launched for the public in USA, Canada and Mexico. Motorola's DynaTAC 8000X was the first mobile sold in the USA in 1983 at a price of $4,000. In the UK, the first mobile call was placed in 1985 when Sir Ernest Harrison of Vodafone received a call from his son Michael Harrison, who was using a mobile phone to place the call. People were craving for more battery life, so Motorola decided to add heavier battery packs, which made the phones weigh almost 3.5 kilograms. But to facilitate, mobile phones had to become smaller and lighter. Motorola researched new technologies that could help solve the problem, and in 1989 Motorola came up with the MicroTAC 9800X, which used a flap to make the phone smaller. By 1992, mobile phones began garnering attention and text messaging was added to the phones, adding another feature to the device. Mobile technology soon began to grow as companies began to realize the potential it had. This led to the creation of what can probably be considered the world's first smartphone, IBM Simon. It was released in 1993 and was the first phone to feature touchscreen technology. The phone was a pager, mobile phone, fax and PDA rolled into one. It also featured a QWERTY keyboard. IBM Simon was sold at $899 and was used in the movie The Net, where Sandra Bullock starred as the lead actress. These early mobile phones ran on 1G network, which was analog cellular network. In the 1990s, digital cellular networks heralded the 2G networks, which either follow the European GSM standard or the American CDMA standard. Digital transmission was faster and helped in increasing the popularity of mobile phones. With mobile phones gaining so much of attention, mobile technologies like various operating systems, apps, and other features began to be researched and introduced to these devices. Lesson 1. How mobile technologies evolved from 1G to 4G LTE. Mobile phones are one of the most successful inventions of the past century, and its unprecedented growth in the new millennium has proven its power and abilities. Keeping IBM Simon in mind, mobile phones started dabbling with greater processing power than computers in the early 90s itself. Advancements in technology opened the doors to amazing graphics and long battery life too. But the one thing that has always been the foundation of a mobile phone is connectivity. With reliable connectivity, a user can connect with friends and family members in a matter of seconds, either over a call or over messages. This connectivity is available on the go, and it can make real-time content available for the users. But how did mobile technologies evolve to provide connectivity at such a large scale? 1G. The first-generation phones used analog voice technology. It did not include any other features. This was somewhat constrictive. But given the time when it was launched and the type of services which it promised, 1G was still considered ahead of its time and was gaining popularity. The limitation of 1G was that it required a huge gap in the spectrum between two mobile phones users in order to avoid interference. It allowed only one user per channel. Spectrum is seen as a limited resource. This is why mobile spectrum is considered to be very valuable. The different channels that facilitate calls use this spectrum. For analog voice calls of the first-generation phones allowed one user per channel, which meant that mobile phone services could not have been used by too many people at the same time. Being the pioneers of mobile phones today, the first-generation mobile phones helped in establishing the elementary framework for mobile technology. This included the use of licensed spectrum, which meant that spectrum was cleared for mobile phones to use them exclusively. These early phones had operator-deployed base stations. The limitation of spectrum and the nature of analog technology made it difficult for mobile phone operators to include more users and grow with the analog technology. Even the devices were very heavy and they cost a lot. People were hoping for something that will be easy for them to carry around and will be available at lower costs. This is what spurred companies to look for a solution, which eventually led to the use of digital technology in the mobile phones. 2G. The next generation of phones used digital technology. It had the potential to grow and provide mobile phone services to the masses. This was the beginning of the use of mobile phones by more people. Early 2G mobile phones still required a generous gap of spectrum to make sure that there is no interference between the users. Mobile phones operated by transmitting digital voice packets. It also enabled multiplexing, which meant that more users can utilize the same channel. However, in early 2G phones, every user can talk only one at a time. This technology is known as Time Division Multiple Access, TDMA. The TDMA techniques went through standardization, leading to two different standards being followed around the world. DAMS, Digital Advanced Mobile Phone Service, was standardized and used in most of North America. This technology is now considered dead and it has been replaced by either GSM or CDMA. The second technology was a European standard which was referred to as GSM. GSM is still used by mobile phones. TDMA, however, was a technology that was still very limiting in nature and the potential for dropped calls seemed to be higher. This led to the improvement of GSM technology and the introduction of CDMA. Instead of relying on specific channels, CDMA technology leverages the entire spectrum available in order to allow more users to be on the phone at the same time. This solution came from Qualcomm and it instantly helped in bringing more users to the mobile phone industry. These efforts of Qualcomm gave rise to a CDMA standard known as CDMA1. It had the ability to use the spectrum resource more efficiently. It also improved battery life and helped in improving security with the help of CDMA encoding. While voice calling was a major part of cell phones at this time, and most of the research revolved around the improvement of voice services, cell phones saw the introduction of a new form of communication with 2G. Messaging. SMS, which stands for Short Messaging Service, was first available on GSM networks only. Eventually, it could be used by all mobile phone users, irrespective of the network they used. Messages were easy and attracted the attention of the younger generation very quickly to mobile phones. Another success for 2G phones was the ability to access media content. It allowed users to download various forms of media from the internet, and by 1999, the phones started providing full internet services to users. The second-generation phones paved the way for 3G by creating the foundation for internet and data use on phones. 3G. Now that 2G had solved the problem of quality voice calling, mobile phone users began hoping for more. They required faster internet services which will allow users to use broadband service and access the internet through their mobile phones. 2G technology played a major role in improving the quality of mobile phone services provided by the operators. This led to a number of subscriptions, making mobile phones available with more people. 2G phones, however, supported small data files and were not capable of smooth internet experience. The third generation of phones was capable of high internet speeds, and it also helped in reducing operating costs for data services. With the number of users constantly growing and mobile phones becoming more popular, 3G helped in making mobile phone services more viable and adding more features as this generation of phones evolved. The onset of iOS and Android platforms also led to the use of apps on a totally new level. These services evolved continually to bring the best for the users. 4G. With new users being added every day, the mobile phone industry is growing constantly and demands for faster and better services, and is making companies research new ways of utilizing the spectrum and providing faster data services to the users. 4G has helped in creating and delivering richer content, and it has also helped in gaining more connections. Mobile 4G LTE is also the first global standard for mobile broadband. The evolution of 4G is in progress as this is being written. It is expanding data capacity and helping the mobile industry incorporate more users without affecting the quality of services provided. It helps developers create apps which can run efficiently by using data, and it has also improved the overall user experience related to phones. Lesson 2. Technologies that made portable devices smarter. The mobile phone industry made it possible for many other technologies to be incorporated in mobile phones to increase the functionality of phones. With the addition of these technologies, it was possible for the mobile phones to be more than a portable device used merely for calling. It started including so much more like emails, calendar, internet access, messaging services, and even games. Here are a few technologies that were most prominent and continue to be used till this day. GPS. Short for Global Positioning System, GPS is one technology that has been considered extremely valuable. In its early stages, where maps were not fully developed, the use of GPS was somewhat limited, but with better mapping system and better understanding of the technology, mobile phones are able to use GPS to navigate users and to find their location on the map. Mobile phones usually use a technology known as Assisted GPS or AGPS. This involves the use of cellular bandwidth and not just complete reliance on the GPS satellites to give you accurate information of your position on the map. MP3. Music has now become an elementary part of mobile phones. There are numerous app services which thrive solely because of the importance people put on music on phones. There are a variety of ways in which you can enjoy music now. You can stream it online, or you can pay for it and download it, or you can share it with others. All of this helps people enjoy music on their mobile phones and tablets. The introduction of MP3 technology to phones was phenomenal, but it also gradually led to the demise of MP3 players since people found it easier to play music directly through their phones. Camera. When cameras first came to mobile phones, they were hardly as perfect as they are today. The first camera phone had a pixel resolution of 0.11 megapixels. Now, camera is almost peremptory in a phone. In fact, phones are beginning to feature more than one camera, a front and a rear camera. Camera phones have somewhat rendered point and click cameras to be of no use any longer, since the portable mobile phones can do it all. People hardly invest in point and click cameras any longer. Only professional photographers are now seen with a separate camera. As for the average users, a camera phone is perfectly suitable for clicking pictures. Voice control. Technology continues to introduce new and fantastic features to mobile phones, and voice control is one such feature. It helps people access their phone hands-free. You can talk to your phone and send messages, call a person, search something on Google, play music or play a video. All of these things are possible because mobile phones feature voice control. There are a variety of apps available which make this possible now. Newer mobile phones feature improved speech recognition abilities and are now able to understand different dialects and accents. This has made voice control even easier for users. Bluetooth. When Bluetooth came to phones, it opened a new world of possibilities. It helped us share files and folders easily and quickly with others who were using phones enabled with the same technology. Bluetooth continues to be used till this day for sharing files. Most of our cars connect with our phones using Bluetooth so that we can make and receive calls and listen to music through our phone using the wireless connection of Bluetooth. Exchanging data as easily as this has helped our phones get smarter, and it gives us the chance to enjoy more features on our device. Touchscreen. Touchscreen phones came in early, but the company that truly made touchscreen viable is Apple. The tech giant, which is popular for its iPhones, made touchscreen phones very comfortable and intuitive. People were finally able to use touchscreen phones with ease and without the help of an external aid like a stylus. Most of the other touchscreen phones were somewhat incapable of delivering touch to the same effect as Apple's iPhone. The technology has since been used by many other companies, and today most phones available in the market have a smooth and intuitive touchscreen. Lesson 3. How iOS and Android changed the game. Android and iOS may be ruling the smartphone industry today, but there was a time when other operating systems had topped the list. Epoch, Symbian, BlackBerry and Windows are a few examples of operating systems that are available in smartphones. The onset of Android and iOS helped smartphones become feature-rich and much more functional. While phones like BlackBerry had already set the stage for smarter devices, their inability to capture the market as effectively as Android and iOS led to a gradual demise. iOS was launched in 2007, while Android 1.0 was first launched by Google in 2008, and in less than a decade, the operating systems became the most popular and most used operating systems in phones. While iOS exclusively caters to Apple devices only, Android OS works on a variety of phones, making it more popular. However, both operating systems have had their own set of fans, some of them fiercely loyal to the OS they use. The iOS devices were the first to make touchscreens comfortably easy to use for cell phone users. Apple's operating system for phones and tablets was meant to be simple and user-friendly. It achieved the two very easily in the phones and tablets it created. In fact, even till this day, Apple users enjoy the interface, which is clean and extremely simple. Android gained grounds because of the availability of Android OS in most smartphones. It wasn't meant to be exclusive. Instead, Google opened it up for developers to understand and create the right apps for it. Both Android and iOS devices have coerced us to look at phones in a very different light from what they were meant to be a few decades ago. Starting from a simple mode of communication, smartphones today have grown powerful enough to make users uncomfortable without them. Whether it is alarms, messages, health trackers, calorie counters or recipe books, everything can be found on your fingertips through smartphones. Apps available on the Google and iOS store have made it so much easier for people using smartphones to communicate with others even when they are in a country where they don't understand the language, or when they need help with navigation, or when they are looking for a hotel close to where they are. All of this has become so much easier with smartphones that leverage mobile technologies of many different kinds. Before smartphones became as popular as they are today, international travel was somewhat limited too. But now people feel safer because they can navigate easily, find out where they are, or even send distress signals if they need help. All of this has been made possible by smartphones, especially iOS and Android phones. Most of the internet traffic now comes through portable devices like mobile phones and tablets. These pocket-friendly devices have somehow quietly invaded into our personal lives, making it a digital extension of ourselves. Smartphones have inevitably changed our lives, and for most part of it, the change is a positive one. It has brought us closer to our friends and families, and it has also helped us improve the quality of communication we can have with them. Lesson 4. Wearable Tech and its impact on mobile devices. Wearable tech is another form of mobile technology which is gaining momentum. Smartphones and tablets are not the only devices which use mobile technologies. Wearable tech devices like smartwatches have already been around for a while, and most of them include a number of features that make it easy for wearers to enjoy the benefits of technology in more ways than just the smartphones. Wearable devices like earphones and watches are becoming smarter and more efficient by the day. They have enabled mobile technologies to be available in a more immediate and convenient form to us. While our phones may not always be as easily accessible, the advantage of a wearable device is that you wear it, so all you need to do is simply glance into a wearable device like your watch and you can access information or check the notifications. Making data available in a convenient way like this makes it a lot easier. Smartphones are also known to create a bubble for us within which we often end up losing ourselves. By being disconnected with the rest of the environment means that we are not completely aware of what is happening around. Wearable tech, on the other hand, is friendlier in terms of the environment. Glancing down at the screen of a watch is quicker and easier, and it usually involves lesser time than taking out the phone and checking for information on the screen of a phone. This type of technology is also becoming fashionable. Sleek watches, earphones, and glasses are trending, which makes them attractive and more popular among people of all ages. The things that deter them from becoming as popular as smartwatches are probably the small screens and relatively high price. The small screen of smartwatches make it difficult for people to easily check everything on it or to type a message or send an email directly through the watch. There are lots of apps that are working towards making typing on smaller screens simpler, but the effect is hardly viable enough for everyone. This is why many people who find it too cumbersome to type on a watch usually avoid buying one at all. Another problem related to wearable tech is the fact that at this time they are considered to be expensive. This makes them inaccessible to people from all walks of life. Unlike smartphones that have already reached a larger population, smartwatches are still considered to be a product used by people who can buy expensive things. But wearable tech has too much of potential, and this is the reason why the popularity continues to increase. At this time, wearable tech works as an extension of your smartphone, making it easier to track notifications, schedule reminders, or attend a call. They are gradually transforming the manner in which we interact with the world, and oblivious as we may be to this change right now, there are people who are already finding wearable tech to be helpful for them in making their lives comfortable. While smartwatches are the most popular form of wearable tech, they are not the only ones in the market. Other wearable technology products are fitness trackers. These can be worn around the wrist or the arm, and they transmit data to your smartphone, helping you understand your body's healthiness, your calorie intake, and other information like the amount of sleep you get, your heart rate, and the number of steps that you may have walked in a day. Smart clothing. Still in the very nascent stages, smart clothing is being embraced by brands as a way of providing value to their customers by not just helping them stay in fashion, but by ensuring that the clothes they wear can also help in monitoring their heart rate, breathability, and stress levels. Smart jewellery. Men and women like to flaunt their jewels, and smart jewellery is one of the ways in which they can wear trendy jewels and also use their jewelleries to check calls, mails, and messages. These work by connecting to your smartphone and working as an extension of the smartphone. Head-mounted displays. Google Glass and VR headsets are included in this form of wearable tech. With virtual reality making it easier for people to immerse themselves into technology, it is another form of wearable tech that is becoming popular. All these different forms of wearable technology are bringing a change in the way we use our smartphones. While the transition is gradual, it is already in progress, and we may soon be using these wearable devices with equal comfort and ease as we use our smartphones today. Lesson 5. Current mobile technologies that have changed user experience. There are lots of new mobile technologies that are being introduced from time to time. Sometimes people may find it difficult to keep up, and at other times they are simply yearning for more new technologies to be introduced. The following technologies have been recently introduced to mobile phones, and they are all very useful and have had a positive impact on the users. The following mobile technologies of the current era in mobile phones have been most impactful. Fingerprint sensor and eye scanner. Biometric technology has been around for a while now, but phones were never considered to be as precious as they are today. This is probably the reason why the technology never made it to phones earlier. Now, mobile phones are the heart of so much information and data that every user wants to protect their phone with the highest level of security possible. This is why fingerprint sensors and eye scanners found their way to the mobile world. The first fingerprint scanner in mobile phones was launched by Toshiba in 2007 in the two phones, G500 and G900. But the popularity of fingerprint sensors increased when Apple introduced Touch ID in iPhone 5S, which was unveiled in September 2013. Other phone manufacturers followed suit and started using fingerprint sensors in their phones as well. Fingerprint scanners are almost common now, and most phones that are entering the smartphone market are equipped with a fingerprint sensor. The fingerprint sensor replaces the need to remember password, pins, or patterns to unlock the phone. But that is not all. You can easily use your fingerprint to authenticate purchases on the app market or to make payments using one of the many payment services available on smartphones now. The advantage of fingerprint sensors is that no one will be able to access your cell phone unless you authorize it by using your fingerprint. It is safer and more secure than the pins and patterns used otherwise. Not far from the introduction of the fingerprint sensor is the eye scanner, which has also started gaining the interest of mobile phone users. While fingerprints are cool, an iris scanner or a retina sensor sounds even cooler. This is probably why people are looking forward to more devices with such security options. The work of the retina sensor is similar to that of the fingerprint sensor. NFC. Short for Near Field Communication, NFC has proven to be very advantageous for mobile phone users. This mobile technology enables devices to share data with each other when they are close to each other or when they are touching each other. The main use of NFC in phones is for payments. There are other ways in which it can be used where you can transfer files or data from one NFC-enabled device to another. But we have other reliable technologies being used for it, like Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. There are many stores in different parts of the world that are beginning to use NFC devices to collect payments from the customers. This way, all that a smartphone user has to do is to make sure that they have their credit or debit card details on one of the apps that support payments like Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Android Pay, and Samsung Pay. You can pay using the app or through an NFC device. All of these apps are easy to use and aim at providing a high level of security. Fast charging and wireless charging. With phones becoming the center of all work and activities we carry out, it is very obvious that we find it too difficult to part from our phones even for the short time that it takes to charge. This is what coaxed phone manufacturers to introduce a mobile technology that could enable smartphone users to enjoy a quick charging option so that they do not have to worry about leaving their phones on charge for very long. Fast charging technology was discovered by Qualcomm, who found a way to use chips and wires that can deliver charge to the devices in a shorter period of time. The quick charge technology allows phones to be charged at a faster rate than the usual USB charging rate. The usability of this technology made it popular overnight, and it did not take very long for phone manufacturers to include it in their phones. With the help of quick charge technology, a phone can be charged from 0 to 50% in 15 to 30 minutes. It is a major selling point for phones today because people are looking for ways in which they have to spend lesser time charging their phones and more time using them. Keeping in mind that the battery capacity of most phones is just enough to last a whole day and many power users end up with critical battery even before the day ends, quick charging is a viable solution for such problems. In addition to quick charging, wireless charging is also mobile technology that has been introduced. But the excitement among mobile users for this technology is comparatively less because wireless charging still needs you to keep your phone on a base through which it is charged. This reduces your chances of using the phone at all because as soon as you pick up the phone, it stops charging since it is not connected to a wire. Augmented reality. This technology has grown in popularity because of mobile phones. Earlier, games were limited to the gamers who played them on PCs or gaming stations, but now even mobile phone users can enjoy a number of games because of developers who have brought great games with great graphics to mobile phones. Augmented reality or virtual reality devices help a user enjoy an immersive experience once they are in an app. VR headsets have gained traction in recent years and have become very popular, especially among users who play games on their phones. Augmented reality is one form of technology which completely immerses us in the game or the app it uses. It is considered to be helpful for teachers who can use this technology to virtually transport children to the place about which they are teaching. So if they are talking about the Great Wall of China, then an app will be able to place the students on the Great Wall of China, through which they can see for themselves how big it is and how it is built. This kind of an experience can be very impactful for the students, and they may be able to retain more knowledge when they get to experience things themselves. This mobile technology is becoming popular, but its advantages are yet to be explored completely. At this time, the technology is expensive as well. Prices may eventually reduce, and when it becomes more viable, its advantages can be put to use. For now, augmented reality or virtual reality is still one of those mobile technologies that are available in the market, but not viable for everyone to own it yet. Lesson 6. Who's in control? In the conundrum of advancing technology, comfortable lives, easy access to information, and stronger communication connections, we have somehow ended up grappling for control. Mobile technologies are helping us lead a better life. They are even turning everything systematic so that we can enjoy our lives in a better way, but the problem is that we are losing almost all of ourselves to our mobile phones. This is most obvious when we ended panicking as soon as we lose our smartphones, even if it is for a very short period of time. Our smartphones play a very important role in our lives. An alarm on our smartphone wakes us up. A reminder tells us that we must reach our office early for the meeting. An email tells us how the company is performing for the quarter. A message relays that we must be in time for our friend's birthday, and a dating app helps us get a date for the weekend. It is evident that we rely on our phones all the time to make sure that we can lead our lives normally. Apparently, this wasn't normal a few decades ago, but now, life without a phone would seem quite abnormal. So the question is, who is in control? Is it our phones that are ingeniously controlling the way we lead our lives, or are we really in control? It so happens that the line between these two is blurred. Mobile technologies are here to help us, but we are eventually giving in to these ease and comfort that these technologies bring for us, putting the technology in control of our lives. Take the payment apps, for example. We can always pay using our cards directly, but the ease introduced through these apps makes the app more alluring, and it has us wanting to buy a phone that will have the ability to provide us with such ease. This throws us on the search for a good phone with this new mobile technology available in it, and once we own it, we may not even be using it enough. But the whole idea is to ensure that such technology is made accessible to us. There are many other instances when we end up discarding our old phones for new ones with better technology and better performance. But the smartphone industry is a highly dynamic one, and it changes constantly, introducing new technologies and new phones almost every month. It can be difficult to keep up with all the new mobile technologies being made available all the time. New phones continue to render early models obsolete, and in this endless race we have somehow entangled ourselves in a way that does not allow us to come out of it or to end it. Technologies continue to come up with new solutions, and for all the comfort they offer, these mobile technologies are too difficult to ignore. A developing world would in fact find it deplorable to not embrace advancements in technology. And so the question again, who is in control? Conclusion. No matter who is in control, the ability of smartphones to improve the quality of lives we lead only points at the fact that it is here to stay. Mobile technologies have advanced exponentially in the last few decades, from being a device that was used solely by the rich and affluent to being a device owned by people from all walks of life, and of all ages too. Mobile phones have been at the center of a technological revolution that has brought us to eventually depend on these nifty devices for a number of things that we do every day. Mobile technologies in many ways have become important for us, and their advancement is centric to the advancement of our comfort and use of mobile phones. This is why mobile phone manufacturers come up breakthroughs almost every quarter, and we willingly discard the old technology to embrace a more modern one. Understanding these technologies is hardly a problem. All the people who use cell phones are adept at replacing old methods for new ones as and when they come. Apps regularly roll out updates which change the manner in which things look or behave on the app. And we have come to like the updates, so we make sure that all our apps are updated all the time. The few changes that take place are hardly as disturbing, and we quickly accept the new changes in the app and look forward to further improvements in future updates. It clearly shows our acceptance of the mobile technologies and proves that smartphones and technologies revolving around portable devices are here to stay. These technologies can only get stronger and better, and with every improvement, our demands from smartphones continue to increase. Mobile technologies hence have a bright future, but every individual technology may have a shorter lifespan as they continue to be replaced by advanced technologies.